guys, my name is Dr. Bree. I am a doctor of nursing practice and a family nurse practitioner. I'm 24 years old and I wanted to make this video to tell you all the tips and tricks and everything that you need to know to become a doctor of nursing practice at Capella University by doing their DNP Flexpath program. So I wrote down every question that I got from Instagram, on YouTube, and also TikTok, and I'm gonna break this video down in some sections so that you guys can be successful on how to get your DNP and to kind of see if, if you want to do Flexpath, if you want to do more traditional, just everything that you guys need to know. So let's get on to the video. This video will cover the most frequent topics such as the price of Capella's DNP program, what the Flexpath is, what the project is, the project charter, getting preceptorship, the institutional review board, which is the IRB, the timeline of the program, and then my general advice to you all. So the question is, what is Flexpath? Flexpath is a way that you can do the program at your own timeline. You can get the project done as quickly as you would like, or you can go more at a slower pace depending on your outside life, your stress of your strainers of like family, jobs, and just commitment. I like the Flexpath because you can go at your own pace and it is flexible. It's flexible of how aggressive you want to do it or just how you want to integrate it into your regular life. So I highly do recommend the Flexpath for independent learners and for people that need that flexibility in their life. Pros of the Flexpath is the flexibility. Also, you can reduce the cost by getting it done quickly, and also you just have that flexibility. Cons about that can be sometimes is the flexibility if you need a more structured learning style, a place where you need discussion boards or you need a little bit more one-on-one with your instructor, more hands-on, then I really wouldn't recommend that. This program is more self-taught, so you do have to be self-efficient in that way. And if organization is something that you're struggling with, then I highly recommend taking their they have a sample course. It's a sample Flexpath. I highly recommend that sample path to see if that's something that fits for you. So the next frequently asked question is, what is the price? So the price is dependent on how fast you do the program, and also depends on how long it takes you to do the program. So that can also be a pro and a con if price is an issue or if you're trying to get it for a lower price. So the total for me for the DNP program was $11,000. So the question is, how quickly did I get done with the program? It took me 9 months to get done with the program. I completed the program in 9 months. Now, my timeline is different just because of how aggressive I worked. Where I was living at, there wasn't anything to do. I had no social life. I literally just wrote all day. Like, there was nothing for me to do. So I took that opportunity and said, hey, I want to have a goal for myself. I want to become a doctor of nursing practice before I turn 24. I want to finish the program at 23. So basically all day I would just research, I would study, I would write, and I would work on my project. The project takes 3 months to implement, and you have to allow some time because it took me 8 times for my project charter to get approved. I failed a lot with that approval just because I didn't understand the concept of the project, and that's another thing. That's why I'm going to tell you guys this secret on to be successful so you don't have to trip up as many times that I tripped up with. So it took me 9 months. I worked really, really aggressive because I said, before I turn 24, this is just my goal to myself. I make goals for myself, and that was just something that I wanted to do. Now, is it possible to do it in 9 months? Yes, but if you do it in 9 months, like I said, I had no social life. I just studied. That's just where I was at in my point in my life. I ate, breathed, and slept that project. You don't have to do it that aggressively. You do it your timeline to make it comfortable for yourself, because at the end of the day, you want to learn the information to sustain it to your career. And I'm so thankful for everything that I learned at Capella because I use that in my day of practice. When I'm as a family nurse practitioner, I'm always looking for quality improvement. I'm looking at how can I make my patient's life bearable? How can I make it better? How can we make this treatment plan exceptional so that they can still live their life and they leave the practice feeling good about themselves. They feel good about their treatment. They know what they are going to do and things that they expect. And I learned so much of that about that in the doctorate program. It also opened doors for leadership. I got a new job in more of a leadership role where I'm doing more of incidental reporting and vaccinations, and I just love the fact that I have this opportunity, and I'm inspired and I feel very confident in it because I do have that background thinking about frameworks and conceptual models that Capella have taught me. So once again, the timeline is all dependent on you and also dependent on, your strainers of, family obligation, work obligation, stress, and just life in general. But like I said, I did it very extensively. I remember that we were coming down to Jacksonville. Well, we were actually coming down to Orlando because my sister had a meet, and I remember I was in the car typing up my paper. I was just sitting back in the seat typing up paper on the way down there. I was editing it in a hotel. I was typing up another paper on the way back and just editing and things like that. It's just something that I like to do too, to be honest. All right, another question is, what is the project? Now, I created a mnemonic to help you with the project. I feel like this mnemonic is very, very good, and it's called ACT. And the ACT stands for Acknowledge Evidence-Based. So your project has to be evidence-based. The other letter is C, which is create a quality improvement plan. You have to use that evidence-based practice to make a quality improvement plan. T, you want to target your project, timeline, and preceptor. And so that became the mnemonic ACT. I came up with that, and I really like this model because I think that that simplifies the program. So you want to acknowledge evidence-based practice. My project dealt on exercise interventions to reduce stage 1 hypertension in a primary care clinic in a urban setting. So what I did is I acknowledged evidence-based practice. And I know that with evidence-based practice, exercise reduces hypertension. I read journals from the American Heart Association, the American Cardiology, the American College of Cardiology. I looked at the I looked at the U.S. Department of Health and Exercise recommendation. I gathered all of this intel from evidence-based practices to say, okay, exercise reduces hypertension. So that's what I did. I gathered up all that information. And one of the projects, one of the classes, you have to do an extensive literature review where you're using that substantial amount of literature for the review and for your project. So you want to make sure that you have a strong evidence base. If you're doing something on the PHQ-2 because you want to focus on mental health, that's a good project starter because there's a lot of information. If you want to reduce the risk of acquired infections in your population, because that's an issue at a clinic that you're in, you can look up the data for that, and then that's your evidence base. So A, acknowledge evidence-based practice. B is you want to create a quality improvement. So we know that exercise reduces stage 1 hypertension, but how are we going to get people to exercise? So I created a quality improvement by creating a little booklet for patients to fill out their exercise to monitor their hypertension. Because if we implement this booklet, they're going to be more willing to exercise because they can read about the exercise, they can see how it improves their health, and then they have something for accountable. So I created that. Another thing about quality improvement, where I worked at, there was a very high risk STIs, and so I was thinking about quality improvement, about making a goodie bag for patients so that they could have it, and if they felt like they didn't have the correct supplies, they could get this little goodie bag. It would have the supplies and instructions, and then look at the data to see how that will reduce STIs in the practice. And that's also another one. And that's one thing that the DNP program has taught me, is to look at these quality improvement metrics so I can improve the quality of life for my patients in the area, because I love my patients and I really want to improve healthcare and just the healthcare diet. And also the last one is timeline and talking with your preceptor. So once again, the project has to be implemented for 3 months to see change. So putting that timeline in the frame there and creating things that you want to see at the first week cycle, the second week cycle, and so on. If you do that, that is basically your project charter. So if you use the mnemonic ACT, acknowledge evidence-based practice, create a quality improvement project, and also timeline and talk with your preceptor, then you have the battle hit. I'm telling you, that mnemonic will save you so much time, and it will help you to be successful even if you're not doing the DNP program at Capella. That is basically what the DNP project is. So you're creating this timeline so you know this is going to happen at week 1, this is going to happen at week 2, week 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. So I was doing phone calls, I was talking to my patients and saying, okay, this is going on, and that's how I was documenting my data. So when I created my project at the end, I had my data to see how much of a reduction of stage 1 hypertension had due to an evidence-based booklet based on evidence-based practice guidelines. So that will help you guys to be successful. The last thing, another thing is about the charter. If you use a mnemonic, that's basically your project charter. The charter is a blueprint for your project. Preceptor, you can use any preceptor, anyone that has a master's. They don't have to particularly be at the clinic, but as long as they're overseeing everything for your project, they are guiding you, they're coming up with ideas with you, they're helping you with the data that you need, they are going to be basically be your supervisor. So your preceptor just has to have a master's and up. Another thing is the IRB approval. So IRB is the Institutional Review Board. And this is to make sure that your research, well, you're not doing research. This is to make sure that your project is ethical. For example, say if you want to say, I want to see if bedside railing reduces falls. And you say, well, I'm going to have a group of 60-year-olds in the bed on the highest level, and we're not gonna put bedside railing. Say that you have a group in another room without bedside railing, and you see, okay, how is the bedside railing gonna reduce falls? And you're letting patients just fall on the floor. That's unethical because you're putting patients at harm. So that's the purpose of the Institutional Review Board. They are here just to make sure that your project is ethical, to protect the patients, to protect you, and to also protect the institute. Another need to know question is, how do you present your project? The way you present your project, you never have to go on campus, and I love that about Capella. You can do everything remotely, so that's very good. You don't have to fly out somewhere and present your presentation. The way you present your presentation is in the last class you do a video report, and in that video you talk about your project, you talk about what happened, you give basically the synopsis of your project, and you create the stage if someone read your project and to see if they can continue with the evidence-based practice. You also review the program, and it's just a video that you create. The way I prepared for this and to make it effective is I made like a script, and I put my camera here, and then I had my laptop, and I just read the script. Now, I didn't read it word from word. It had more of like bullets, like this is what I was going to talk about. This was what was successful about my project. This is what I wish that I could do next time with my project. This is what I hope for the future for evidence-based practice and quality improvement. And that is basically the DNP program in a nutshell. Now, also with some of your projects, the reason it also takes a while is because you have some projects that the teacher has about 7 days to grade. So with those, they have 7 days to grade. Say that you get satisfactory on them, they have another 7 days. So you're having about, sometimes when I got my project charter, that was one that took 7 days. I would submit it and I would like wait on it, and then they would deny it. And then I was like, oh. And then I had another 7 days, and I would wait, and then they would deny it. And then I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I had another 7 days. But I didn't get discouraged. I knew that I wanted to be this. And that's my biggest advice. Always remember why you're in school, why you want to do this. Because it's sometimes when you're going to get discouraged and you're just like, oh, why am I doing this? And it's kind of like, do I really want to do this? But remember why you want to become a doctor of nursing practice. Remember how you want to reform healthcare. And that's my biggest advice, is to not get discouraged. Get you something to help you during that time frame. Especially for me, when I was eat, breathing, and sleeping the project and just school in general, I was just, when I had to wait those 7 days, I was just like losing it, because I was like, what am I going to do? So I was like exercising. I had started learning another language. But yeah, find you something that you like to do. But yes, if you guys have any other further questions about the DNP program, please put them below. Also follow me on Instagram at Hey Dr. Bree. The link will be below, and you guys can ask me any questions. I love sharing my experience, and I wish you all the best. I am blessed that I was able to accomplish this, and I'm so thankful, and I'm just so happy, and I'm so glad to share this with you guys. I did start another job, which I mentioned in the video, which deal with more of incidental reporting and immunizations. I will share more with that with you guys next time. And I know I'm gonna keep myself accountable. I will try to post another video in at least 2 weeks. Next week, hopefully, but another video. I'm gonna be more accountable with that. Everything's settling out and I'm feeling better, because it was a huge cultural difference, and just, it was a lot of difference, and it took me a while to like adjust. So I feel like I can post more videos. But yeah, follow me on Instagram. Also follow me on TikTok, and I will see you guys next time. And don't forget to act when you're making your DNP project. Acknowledge evidence-based, create a quality improvement project, and then timeline and talk to your preceptor. Bye guys, I wish you guys well.